that this baby is beautiful. Look at the hands there. Now, I'm just going to make the most of this position because it's in a good position to measure the thickness of the neck, and I know if I don't do it straight away it'll move and then I'll have difficulty. This, yeah, it stopped now because I've frozen the image, but in this picture two very important things: the thickness of the neck, which looks normal, and then the nasal bone. See that little white bone here? So first I'll take a picture for you, and then I'm going to do some measurements. Oh, see, it's already moved. So now it's looking straight at us. So that's an alien view. You see the midline of the brain here, and you see the two eye sockets. Yeah. Oh, and it's moving again. So now measure the thickness of the neck twice to have sort of a consistent measurement. Oops. Okay, so then
what measurement should it have?
It depends on the length of the baby. So the laboratory sort of puts in the length of the baby and relates it to the thickness of the neck, and from there works out. This is the skull with the brain inside it. So I measure the head from one side to the other side, and it does measure a little bigger than expected, so it may be that your due date is a little earlier, so we'll see. This is the midline of the brain, the two symmetrical brain halves, so that brain's developing beautifully. This is very good views of the heart already. So you can see 4 little chambers in that heart. Left atrium, left ventricle, right atrium. Aorta coming out of left, lung vessel coming out of right. Fantastic views, considering that the heart is less than a centimeter. And so I just have a look at the two halves of the heart that fill up nicely. So you can see the two ventricles filling up beautifully, and then the way the vessels that come out of the heart is beautiful. So for this stage of the pregnancy, those are fantastic views of the heart. And just under the heart, this black space is the stomach. Black is fluid on ultrasound. It proves to me that the baby is drinking well, that the stomach has filled up. So that's good. Then we've got the umbilical cord pulsating here between the legs. So I'm just going to have a look at the umbilical cord that goes into the belly button. It goes in, it goes into the belly button. It goes around the leg and goes into the belly button just there, and it splits in a normal number of blood vessels. It should split in 2 in the pelvis of the baby, which it does, and this tiny little black space between the 2 vessels is the bladder. So there is urine being produced. Here you can see the bladder really well, and there's a vessel on either side of the bladder. So that's good. Cord insertion looks good. The baby's moving all the time. So that looks fantastic. Then arms and hands and legs and feet. So it's lying on its back, and you can see the spine here. The spine is beautiful. And in that view, I should be able to measure the length of the baby quite well. So from its bottom to the top of the head. And the head was, 13 weeks. So I've got the length being 13 weeks and 3 days, and the head 13 weeks and 5 days. So all of those measurements are just a little bit bigger than suggested by your last period. Was your cycle shorter than average? Or,
no, actually, I went back to look to check it. I've always been regular. It was 28 days. Just always.
Oh well.
Oh, yes.
So little hands here. Can you see? Here is an arm here with the hand.
Yes, I see.
And there's 4 fingers and a little thumb.
Oh.
And this is the other arm. And I want to see the fingers there as well, obviously. See, this is a cross section through the four fingers and the thumb there, yeah. It's beautiful. See, it's doing a high five there. Can you see that? How cool is that?
Beautiful. This is amazing.
Could be a goalkeeper.
I don't know if we have a girl or a boy. Yes.
Do you know when can we know?
It's actually a little longer, I think. Yeah, 14 weeks and 4, 14 weeks and 5 days. 13 weeks and 4, 13 weeks and 5 days. Sorry.
No, but when can we know the?
At this stage, it's not 100% certain yet. It's only like 80%, so 1 in 5 we get it wrong. And then it's very certain at 20 weeks, the next ultrasound, really. That's a leg kicking, see the foot, and that's the other foot behind it. And here's the toes.
Oh my God.
See the toes? And that's the other foot. Very nice. And it's got its legs tucked up now. What can I say? Textbook baby. This baby is so well behaved. So easy to scan.
I just love this. Another high five.
Yes. And so you've got on the side of the head little ear here. And the other little ear just here. The ears are still always very low on the head at this stage. So ear here and ear sort of sticking off here. These are the two lenses of the eyes. Sort of spooky view again.
Yeah.
But the bones and everything look fine.
Proportionally.
Yeah. Beautiful. What can I say? Then your ovary. There's an ovary just here, and that's the one where you've ovulated from. And then the other ovary, let's see whether we can see that one. So your cervix is long and closed as it should be. The placenta is developing here on the back wall of the uterus, and it's looking very good. No problems. So, and that's why when you said how thick does a nuchal have to be, I didn't want to say anything because you want to sort of know what the length of the baby is. For 11 weeks, that would be a thick nuchal translucency. For 13 weeks and 5 days, it's a completely normal one. So it's sort of taken into account the length of the baby. Yes. Yeah. And so by eyeballing it, you sort of see immediately that, yes, that looks like in proportion with the baby. Yeah, so that's the ovary with the ovulation cyst. And that ovulation cyst, and that's the other ovary,
That's why at the beginning I felt something
on that side, yeah, and the other ovary looks fine. Everything looks beautiful.
I'm so happy to hear that and to see that. It's your baby, Thomas.
I know.
Beautiful.
It's just so much.
And the nasal bone protects as well. Sort of seeing that nasal bone reduces the risk further for Down syndrome, because often babies with Down syndrome don't develop that bone so early. And you can already see a nice view of the diaphragm as well. That's a diaphragm separating the lung and the liver.
Yeah.
And on this side, the diaphragm separates a bit of liver, stomach from heart and lung. So that looks beautiful.
Are those the ribs?
This is the kidney, yeah, I've seen the kidneys. And yes, these are the ribs, yes, here on the side. And here are the other ribs. Yes.
Wow.
Very nice baby. Beautiful. So I've taken quite a few photos.
Oh, wonderful.
Now the So I would go 13 weeks, 4 days, which, I mean, we can never predict when someone's due date is, and it may just be a baby that's just a little bit bigger. But the agreement is that if there's more than 5 days different, then we assume that maybe you ovulated a little bit earlier, and we reset the due date once. Once we've measured it once and we've come up with a due date, we stick with that due date, because the earlier you look, the more accurately the size reflects how old it is. As it gets older and older, bigger babies are not due earlier and smaller babies are not due later. It doesn't work like that anymore. So the 19th of July would be more likely the due date than the 26th, and so.
Well, no, great.
Usually consider a great birthday.
Well, yes, well, it's up to you. Some people.
So.
This is just.